Hi, folks. Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. In just a moment, we'll be joined by Ted Rall, syndicated political cartoonist. He wrote a column, in effect, congratulating the rioters in Ferguson, saying that that's how to get noticed, and that's how to get change, and that's how to get things done. So, very provocative, certainly, and we'll talk to him about that. There's an interesting story from the Washington Times that race-based hate crimes have spiked in Washington, D.C. Whites are the most common victims, but there's a lot of underreporting feared in those statistics as well. I bring that up because, you know, the media would have you believe it's always a one-way street. Now, again, the breaking news today on the Ferguson front, several things. Eric Holder's in town in Ferguson. The grand jury will not have any conclusion, will not stop or even really start in earnest. It's unclear to me whether they heard some things today, but they're not going to be ready to make a decision on an indictment until October. Middle October. So keep that in mind. And we have a report today from a source who's very familiar with the investigation, saying that the police officer was beaten by Michael Brown. His eye socket was broken. He was nearly knocked unconscious. I always have trouble with that. And was taken to the hospital after the incident. All right, folks, Ted Rall joins us. But first, let's all watch this.
Can I say one more thing before we go? When we're talking about the rioting, yeah, it's terrible about the rioting. I agree with LZ. I hate when people riot and loot. That happened in Katrina. But when people are put in dire situations, you don't know how they're going to react. I'm not saying it's right. I personally urge people to be peaceful and calm. I'm not saying I agree with them, but I understand.
They should never be rioting.
I understand.
Should never be
rioting. Should never be rioting, but it happens when people are frustrated.
You saw those kids
they react the way they're going to react. As I said, I don't agree with them, but I understand.
Yeah, you can't understand it.
I do understand it.
All right. You can't understand it. I do understand it. You can't understand it. I do understand it. Joining us now, Ted Rall, syndicated political cartoonist, and you could read him and check out his website at Rall, RALL.com. Hello, Ted.
Hi, Steve. How are you?
Good. Good to see you again. Good to talk to you. So you may even go a step further than Don Lemon, who took some heat for saying that he understands the rioting and all that kind of stuff. Your column is titled, "We Would Never Have Had a National Conversation on Racial Profiling If People Hadn't Rioted in Ferguson." You actually think it resulted in good?
There's no question about the fact that we would not be having this discussion if not for the media attention, and the media attention would not be there if not for sustained rioting. Now, the thing is that we are repeatedly told, both by the left and the right, that if people who want positive social change need to go about it through voting, go through the ballot box, through letters to the editor of their local newspaper, through nonviolent means. But the fact is that time and time again, whether you are on the left or the right, if you try to effect that kind of change non-violently, you're not going to get the kind of attention that the media is going to give you if you're willing to break things. So, if the system doesn't want rioting to happen, if people in the media and pundits and politicians don't want people to resort to violence, what they should do is try being more responsive to people who are operating in a non-violent way.
Well, then you go on to point out different police cases where there was no rioting, and you say nothing has been done. Of course, there's going to be one of those cases. There's going to be a march on Saturday here in New York City, which there was a big meeting with the mayor and Al Sharpton and others today how to keep that peaceful. But, here's the deal. Who does the rioting hurt? A lot of these rioters, although in the beginning, the rioters, I believe, were mostly from the town or the area. Subsequently, we've had people come in reportedly from out of town, from out of state, to rabble-rouse at night after curfew. But look at the businesses who have been hurt. Look at the businesses that were looted, burnt down, and the ones that are still closed during a good portion of the day and night because of the threat. You're tearing apart your own neighborhood. You're rooting your own local businesses. How is that helpful?
Well, I mean, it's not only not helpful, it's also not fair. When you see struggling local business owners, there was a guy I saw interviewed whose convenience store has been repeatedly robbed and looted. This guy, you can tell, he's not a rich guy, he's not an oppressor, he's not the one who's shooting unarmed black men in the streets. It's not his fault, and it's not fair, and it's not right. And similarly, rioting is an unfocused, rage-fueled disaster that does come down hardest on the community where it happens. It's not like the rioters are going to the neighborhoods of the police officers who they believe are racially discriminating against them. It's not like they're burning down the police precinct. They're destroying their own neighborhood. This is just like the guy said at the beginning of the segment. This is an expression of frustration and hopelessness and impotent rage. It's what happens when people feel that they don't have an outlet through the system.
So they go for the liquor store, huh?
Well, I mean, the thing about rioting is it's a powder keg. I mean, some people have a legitimate grievance, and there's always going to be people who take advantage of that and try to direct it into ways that are just related to criminal activity. That's always going to be the case.
Are you suggesting that they vent their anger in the neighborhoods of the police officers and/or at the police precinct?
Well, if you were going to do this in a focused way, I suppose that what you would do when you're being oppressed is go after the people who are actually oppressing you. But I'm not suggesting that people do that. What I'm saying is that this requires an intelligent analysis. You have to ask, why are people doing this? Race riots don't happen every day in every city. Why are they happening in Ferguson? Why are they happening now? Clearly, there's a situation there where people have been disrespected and abused and oppressed for a long time.
Well, but you say that, but there's no evidence of that. And let me just say here, this is a case where from the reports we have, and we don't know what happened officially, but from reports we have, okay, first of all, witnesses said he was shot in the back. He wasn't shot in the back. The reports we have, the cop went to the hospital, and this is confirmed. He had 2 broken bones in his eye socket. He asked these guys to move off the street. They said no. He then tried to get out of his car. Reportedly, Michael Brown slammed the door on him, punched him in the face, broke 2 bones by his eye socket, tried to take his gun. The gun went off. He ran, and then even according to reportedly could be 12 eyewitnesses and 1 eyewitness that I heard taking video describing what happened to someone who just came on the scene, described it as the dude came back around and charged at the police officer. So that's the case you picked to make a point and riot at? This cop reportedly, according to his side, if it's true, had every right to shoot.
Well, that's the thing, Steve. I think that what you and other members of the media are missing here is that it's not really about one particular case. This could have just as easily been another case that happened in Ferguson or another predominantly black community with aggressive policing by white cops.
But you call this aggressive policing?
Well, this is aggressive policing. Stop and frisk. Random.
No. If 2 guys are walking down the middle of the street and you ask them to get out of the middle of the street and they say no, that's the policeman's fault?
Well, by the way, I am going to say that yes, I do think that that's hyper-aggressive policing. I think that this cop, I really wonder if crime is so low in Ferguson that these cops don't have anything better to do. As a New Yorker, I don't see cops worrying about people standing in the street. But that's a different question. The point here is that this kind of event is not going to happen in a city that doesn't have underlying racial strife that's ready to explode. And if you focus too much on the particulars of this individual case, I think you're missing the point. The French Revolution probably started because of a very drunken Marquis de Lafayette yelling at a drunken crowd that he was being abused when he wasn't.
All right, Ted, how many?
The French Revolution had nothing to do with the Marquis de Lafayette. It had to do with social injustice.
How many police are in this country?
Oh,
I don't even know.
Don't know the numbers.
Okay, and how many black people are in this country? And how many incidents of this kind are there? What's that percentage? And how many incidents of this kind get adjudicated eventually through a court of law in favor of the police officer, even with minorities on the jury?
Actually, I just happened to look that up yesterday in preparation for the column that we're talking about. And it turns out that there are there are thousands of cases like this.
Wait. Cases like this where black men are killed by cops? Thousands?
Where black men are assaulted or killed by white police officers, and there's enough cause for a grand jury to be convened.
And what happens?
Over and over and over and over again, the cases get thrown out.
Why? Why do you think that is? Because a cop has a right to defend himself. Do you ever see them trying to subdue a suspect? Wait, you ever see the cops try to subdue a suspect? Take 7 of them. If the guy's on drugs or hepped up or he's bigger than them, it's not I mean, come on, Ted, give these people a break.
Look, police officers are absolutely entitled to every bit of defense as any other American citizen. The issue is, though, that there have been many cases, such as the Amadou Diallo case.
Which went to a, wait a minute, that was a jury case and a black foreman, and they found him not guilty. We lost him. All right, thank you to Ted Rall. Read his piece at rall.com. And we're coming back, folks, on the Steve Malzberg Show. But first, we want your opinion. Is Rand Paul correct? Do you think Ferguson police are over-militarized? Vote now. Go to newsmax.com/polls and do it.